Happy Saturday, Terry. How are you feeling this day, my friend?
Good. I'm feeling really good. How about you?
I feel pretty good, man. It's an action-packed Saturday, no?
It is absolutely. There's a
Uh,
lot of good races here with the big fields.
oh, absolutely. There's like 20, I think, stakes races today as it is, so it's going to be a big day. But probably the punctuated race of the day, if you will. The biggest race of the day is the Risen Star Stakes at Fairgrounds because they have 50 Kentucky Derby points available for the winner.
Yeah, and that makes it so that that horse gets in for sure.
Well, I wouldn't say it for sure, but I would say 95 or 99.9. It's like ivory soap, 99.44%.
That sounds good.
Does that sound good to you, Terry? It
Yeah,
sounds good
it
to me
does.
too, right? For
Yep.
sure. So the first race we're going to cover today, so we're covering 6 races, so we probably should get popping, right, Terry?
Okay, sounds good.
So the first race we're covering today is race, let me make this a little bit bigger. Race number 7. This is the Colonel Power Stakes. It's 5.5 furlongs on the turf course, Terry. And if you look at 5.5 furlongs on the turf course, they've run 27 races, 14 of which, Terry, on a speed on turf were won by closers. So a little bit more than half. 6 of them went wire to wire, Terry. And if it looks like when you look at the post position, there's a little bit of an inside post bias, Terry. So let's quickly take a look at how the race breaks down in terms of early pace. According to the early pace, it looks to me like Just Might. Actually, pretty good, a little bit of advantage over Gray Attempt, 7 cents, and Inhalation. And then on the way home, Pyron has a really good advantage over 7 cents, Cowan, and Just Might. And if we take a quick glance at how their stock charts would look as a candlestick, the red dots notify you when the horse has an average, with the peaks at the top and the valleys at the bottom. The 6 horse is coming in from out of the country. He's coming in from France and Great Britain, so he hasn't gotten any numbers yet. But looking at the race, it looks to me like the 1, the 2, the 5 have probably the best options here in terms of coming home. If they run their average race, right? Of course, there's peaks and valleys.
That's right.
So let's take a look at the field. Horse number 1, Terry, that is Cowan. What do you feel or what do you think about Cowan?
Well, Colin has a really high percentage winning jockey, and this rail post is winning at a 19% clip. This horse won its last race at Fairgrounds on the turf at 5.5 furlongs, and it has its best turf speed is close to the average winning speed.
And then for me, looking at that horse there, the first horse, Cowan, is right. That's the first horse. I'm so used to doing our other show that I was already flipping ahead to the next race.
Yeah.
So Cowan, to me, this is a horse making its second start off a layoff. Its history says that maybe the horse gets a little bit better in the second start off a layoff. Saw some improved internal numbers in that first start off the bench, but there's a little bit of black type as the horse finished behind another in this field last time out. I'm expecting a pretty good performance here today at Fairgrounds where the horses won one race in one try. Just Might is the 2 horse, Terry. Any chance that Just Might find its way into the winner's circle?
He just might. He's the morning line favorite at 7-5, and he won his last race at Fairgrounds, but was disqualified for bumping the foals and placed 8th.
Maybe you ought not do that, huh?
No, you can't do that. But he had won 2 races before, and he probably was the best horse in that race. So I think today he's going to probably do fairly decent. The trainer wins 34% of the time when he goes into a non-graded stakes, and this horse has the highest speed figure at today's distance and the best turf speed is fastest among the starters.
Yeah, and he's also a horse for that New Orleans course, Terry. He's been on that fairground surface 10 times, 3 wins, 4 seconds, and a third. And when he's run those shorter 5.5 furlong distances, he's done it 23 times, 15 of which he's finished in the money. The horse is making its 3rd start off a break. I like the fact that it did have some mid-pace and late-pace improvement in race number 2 in that wire-to-wire just smacking of the rest of the field. The horse in its 4th start off a layoff last time, much like today. Last time out, it did have a little bit of a step back. So maybe Colby Hernandez might have his workout for him with Just Might. The 3 horse in this field is 7 cents. And that's not like cents. What is kind of like cents. But Terry, any chance that 7 cents can take his cut of the $100,000 pie here?
Yeah, he looks pretty good to me. He ran second here at Fairgrounds on the turf at 5.5 furlongs in January, and then went down to Houston and won there pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And this horse trainer wins 26% of the time when he brings a horse back that has already won. This horse has been in the money 4 out of 6 times at the Fairgrounds and likes the distance.
I did see some late pace improvement at Sam Houston, though I feel like Sam Houston 2 Fairgrounds is a track upgrade. But prior to running at the Sam Houston track, it did run at Fairgrounds, where it did have a couple nice, was 3/4 of a length away from winning 2 in a row. I do see a little bit of early race regression with 7 cents last time out, so that's a bit concerning, particularly in a short race. But the fact that closers tend to do a little bit better and there was late pace improvement maybe eases that a little bit. I might have liked to seen a freshen up workout in between. Number 4, Terry, and I haven't had a chance to look at the scratches, so if there are any scratches, please let me know.
Yeah, there is in this race. The last horse, number 8, has been scratched in elation.
Yeah, getting all these charts and stuff together kind of, and some other issues that we had to take care of today, unfortunately. But Gray Attempt is making its second start off a layoff. It has it tied for the top last race speed figure, which in itself at times can be a high percent winning angle. Is that good enough?
Yeah, I think so. I really like this horse. This horse has won 3 out of the last 4 races. He's won one at Fairgrounds, his last race at today's distance.
Mm-hmm.
And on the turf, he's won 3 out of 5, ran a third, and the only race he ran 4th in was the first time he tried turf. So he has a really good trainer jockey combination who in the last 14 days have finished in the money 6 times, won 4 of those.
Yeah, and if you mentioned, boy, he likes that distance, Terry. He's run it 5 times with 3 wins and a third. Horse is making its second start off a layoff. Last time out, the horse was in a 2-race cycle. Race number 2 wasn't as good as race number 1. So maybe we see a little bit of regression here. Horse hasn't worked out since its January 14th run. So I'd like to see maybe a little bit of a freshener up in there. But Chris Hartman, the trainer, does win at about 22%, second off a layoff. And he does follow up a win about 1 out of 5 times and had some great success with jockey Mitchell Merle. The 2 of them have run together 31 times, winning 14 of them, I think, which is a pretty good number, Terry.
It is.
And what's even more impressive is you just bet that combination. They have a 61-cent positive ROI. Number 5 is Pyron, Albert Stahl Jr. I think the next race is named after him in one of these races. In any case, this horse hasn't run since the day after Christmas. It has some workouts in there getting ready for this spot. What do you say?
Well, this Pyron has likes to run third. He's run third 4 times out of the last 6 races.
And, thirditis.
Thirditis. As a matter of fact, last time it ran first time it ran at Fairgrounds, it ran third. And it's 4 turf rates. It's ran third twice. So it might be a good one to use in exotics.
Maybe. I don't know. It's had 12 okay workouts. 12, not workouts, 12 furlongs of workouts. They're only okay. It looks to me like this horse is not really a turf horse, Terry. Ran there 4 times, 2 seconds. I think this horse is better served running on dirt, where he's run 8 times on a fast track with 3 wins, a second, and 2/3. So I probably want to see one out of this horse on turf where he's successful before I go ahead and put him in a big race on turf where he's not been that successful. Number 6 is Toro Strike. Toro Strike is coming in from the Great Britain, from the Great Britain, and from France, where he had 1 race. Been running in Group 3s, Group 1s over there. So this is probably a little bit of a downgrade. And on top of that, he's getting one of the top jockeys in the country, Luis Saez, in his first race. What do you think?
Yeah, all these horses that come in from Europe, to me, a lot of times they're mysteries. But it did win its last race at Grade 3 at Goodwood. And I think, it's got a good chance in here to show how it can do. So
What I like to look at, Terry, when you're looking at these horses that come from overseas, and let me bring it up on the screen. I would put it on here more, but we're only allowed to show so much. So if you look here, when Two Toro Strike ran on a good track over in Europe, it won.
Yeah.
Soft, good. Again, it won. So you got a heavy track, a soft track, a good track. Again, it won.
Yeah.
And then, oops, too highlighted, too much there. And then here's another 2 good tracks. Finished third by a length and third by a half a length. Many times these horses that are used to running on those heavy tracks over there in Europe come over here and they hit firm footing in the U.S. and they just go boom. You give them a little bit of Lasix like this one's getting today. And maybe Toro Strike makes a difference. I think it might need one, though. As great as Todd Pletcher is as a trainer, I think he's all-time winningest trainer, right?
Yeah.
He shippers to the U.S. this year, he's 0 for 12.
Wow.
Yes. So that's probably the only thing he's 0 for on, right? I would guess.
Yeah.
Number 7, Strike Me Down, is the last horse in this race because, as Terry mentioned, the 8 horse is scratched. Can Strike Me Down stay perfect at the distance where he's run 4 times, a win 2 seconds in a third?
Well, this horse ran second last time. Actually ran third, but was placed second through disqualification.
Mm-hmm.
But it has a really good trainer who wins 34% of the time when he enters a horse in a non-graded stakes. And this horse, his best turf speed is close to the average winning speed. So
I do like Deshaun Parker on there as a jockey. If you're unfamiliar with Deshaun Parker, make sure you pay attention to him. He runs like in that Midwest like that. Good morning, Mike. How are you today? Hopefully a great state of Texas indeed. So when you look at Strike Me Down and Deshaun Parker, he is an aggressive rider. And more often than not, I like to see Deshaun Parker on a horse closer to the front than a horse that's mid-pack or back. He kind of reminds me a little bit of how he rides like Kendrick Camouche. He wants to get out to the front and really get running. So horse is making its third start off a layoff. The last time it did a 3-race cycle, the third race absolutely was the best of the 3. But he is stepping up in class here. I think maybe, possibly a back end part of the exacta, maybe fills in the superfecta. Don't know that he's got that he can win, but you never know, right? That's horse racing.
That's right.
So how are you going to put him, Terry? In what order?
Well, I like the number 4 horse, Gray Attempt, as my first pick. And then I like number 1, Koan, my second pick. Number 2, Just Might, as my third pick. And that horse coming in from Great Britain, number 6, Toro Strike, as my 4th pick.
Yeah, we have them in same 4 horses, just slightly different order, Terry. I have Just Might up on top, although I am worried about a little bit of regression there. Gray Attempt is my second pick. We both agree. No, you have Koan third. So Koan is my third pick, and Toro Strike is my 4th pick. So I'm going 2, 4, 1, and 6. The next race on our docket in our half of a dozen today, Terry, is race number 9. We're skipping. See, I knew there was an Albert Stall Stakes in here today, Terry. It's actually, is it named? It's probably named after his pops, right? But
probably.
Yeah. So this one is about a mile and a 16th on the turf, Terry. And when they run about a mile and a 16th on the turf, there have been 35 races so far, 21 of which were won by closers. So it's a pretty good closers bias there. Only 6 of the 35 managed to go gate to wire. And then if you look at the track bias, there is absolutely a bias where the 1, 2, and 3 seem to be penalized, and 4 and out, Terry, tend to do a little bit better. So we see an outside post bias. And if we take a look at the race and how it might break down out of the gate, Albert M. Stall, Amici is a little bit faster than LD80. Is LD80 missed? Maybe something like that. And then the next 4, the 5, the 7, the 2, and the 9, they're going to all bunch up behind there. On the way home, where it counts, Terry, because as I mentioned, closers tend to do well. You have the out of sorts and past the plate. Those 2 will be passing folks at the end of the race. And then Abscond and Drapes, they're next up, and they have a pretty significant lead over Dawn's Dancer and Down. And our speed stock chart ranking looks to me like minus the 1 and the 3 horse, Terry, minus past the plate and Abscond. All these other horses are pretty tightly bunched up.
That's right.
Absolutely. So taking a look at horse number 1, past the plate, Terry, First of all, are there any scratches in this race?
Yes, number 2, Mo Normal has been scratched.
All right, so number 2 has been scratched. All right. So we'll skip number 2 and we'll start with number 1. Pass the plate, Terry. Pass along your knowledge.
Yeah, well, this horse won at the fairgrounds after being off 2 months and likes this track and the distance, and has a sharp workout on February 12th at the fairgrounds, 48.4 breezing, best 13 best out of 102.
Yeah, this horse is making its second start off a layoff. Yeah, the resume is kind of spotty. Sometimes it improves, sometimes it regresses a little bit, but it's never really a big move one way or the other. So how it ran last time past the plate is likely what we're going to see here today, Terry. I do like the fact that it did have some of the strongest late pace numbers that the horse has produced, and the fact that the horse has run 5 times at fairgrounds with 2 wins and 2/3. Horse ran on January the 22nd and had a nice workout, as you mentioned, on February the 12th. So the horse should be fit. Seems to like the distance. 8 runs, 3 wins, 3/3. As you mentioned, Mo Normal, the 2 horses scratched. I don't know that he would have been a factor anyway, other than moving Abscond in from the 3 horse to the 2 horse. What do you think about Abscond's chances in its second start off a layoff?
Well, Abscon comes in from Southern California and but disappointed in its last race, but could make amends today. Trainer wins 20% of the races on the second race after a layoff, and this horse has the highest speed figure at today's distance and the best turn speed, is fastest among the starters.
As I mentioned, the horse is making its second start off a layoff, and if you look back again, another one when you review previous 2 race cycles, it seems it can either go up or down, but usually not by a whole lot. So you'll probably see a consistent effort out of this horse. Did run once at the fairgrounds, didn't hit the board. It's one that's going to be way, way, way behind out of the beginning gates, Terry, and it's going to have to make its way through a pretty deep field, which is going to require a good trip. The good news is that at 1 mile and 1/16, he's got plenty of time to do it, which he's proven in the past that he has been a Denzel Washington horse at the distance, means he's been close to the winner's circle, just not in it, with 3 races, but only a second and a third to show for it. Out of sorts with Luis Saez. Is that one, Terry, out of sorts here too? It's another one that's going to be coming from off the pace and is going to be really dependent on getting a clean trip.
Yeah, well, so far she doesn't show she cares for the fairgrounds track. But she could improve with blinkers added today. So,
yeah, she's definitely not like that track at all, where she's run twice but has not hit the board. The last couple of races, I mean, she gets way, 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 way behind from the jump, Terry. And I know closing is the way here, but as you mentioned, hasn't been able to take advantage of her strong suits at the fairgrounds that fit her strong suits. Although at the distance, she has run 4 times with a second and a third. At that, looking at that last race, one point of hope is that the 2 furlong and the 4 furlong pace numbers were actually a little bit better than the previous race while maintaining the same late pace push. That can be a sign of a horse that's rounding into form. So maybe Out of Sorts is a little bit better today than it was on January the 22nd. It's got a workout since then too. Yeah. She can't sing, Terry. Neither can you. But can she run?
Well, she really looks like she can't sing at fairgrounds, as she's finished in the money 3 times, run second twice, but hasn't won. And she's trying the distance for the first time. I don't know if she can do that. She has a sharp 5 furlong workout on February 12th.
Well, the one thing you know for sure, well, I can't say for sure because you never know, but when these sprint horses move to the route for the first time, they tend to show some good early pace, even if they didn't show it at the sprints, because they're used to boom, 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 let's get out of the gate. So I expect She Can't Sing to break sharply. And if she breaks sharply, maybe with the late pace, she can factor in the back half of the ticket, Terry. But I do think that extra distance is going to be a lot for her to handle, although she does have a pretty good workout since the last time she hit the track. But I did see, despite the fact that the horse is going, from a sprint to a route, I saw in-race regression last time out. So the form looks like it's maybe getting a little bit worse. So it might not be the right time to make the horse stretch out. I would prefer to see the form getting better when they're taking the horse a longer distance than when they're, for the first time. Number 6, Adelaide Miss. Making its third start off a layoff, Terry. This is only the second time the horse has made it to 3 races without spending some time in the barn. Will it make it to the winner's circle like it did 2 races back?
Well, it finished third in its last race, but could get an easier trip this time. As she's won 50% of her turf races, so I wouldn't count her out at this point.
Well, I think minus the 5 horse Adelaide Miss is very likely, Terry, to be the pace setter in this spot. Yeah. I think she's going to maybe even get out shake free from everybody else. And the question is, what sort of fractions can she run?
That's true, and it really depends on what happens in the race, because this horse can either come from on top or it can come from close to the pace. So,
well, if she can get out and say 49 and a half or high, at the first half mile, if she's out at 49 and a half, they're probably not going to catch her.
No, they won't.
If she runs under 49, then it's going to be close at the wire. If she runs under 48, you can forget about it. She'll probably finish. She'll finish up the track way back, and everybody will run by her. But the good news is, if you're an Adelaide Miss backer, she does tend to improve in the third race off the start relative to the second race. So maybe one that can steal this race going wire to wire. Dawn's Dancer will also try to keep some pressure on the 6 horse Adelaide's Miss, but only time she's really flashed any sort of speed was last time out, and that was on the all-weather. Now she's flipping back to the turf in the third start off a layoff. Does that all-weather turf flip encourage you, Terry?
Well, as you said, we finished third on the all-weather in the last race, but she seems to like the turf better. I think she'll improve while returning to the turf, and the trainer wins 19% of the races when he takes a horse from an all-weather to the turf.
Yeah, and this is another horse, though, Terry, when you look at it, and sprints, the horse, it seems to get out a little bit better than it does in routes. So I think Dawn's Dancer is likely to be way at the back and going to be involved with a handful of horses that are going to be trying to move forward late. Really going to be dependent on track position. And the good thing about that is you have Jose Ortiz in the irons, who makes sure, well, at least he'll try to do the best he can to get his horse in the right position to win. But there's going to be so many horses coming home late that really positioning is going to be everything. Amici, the 8 horse, is making its first start since December 27th. Do you think this horse can come off the bench and find its way to the winner's circle?
Well, did run second in its last race, and this horse has finished 80% of her turf races in the money and won 40% of those races. And she has another plus, which is a good trainer jockey combination, who in the last 14 days, they finished in the money 3 out of 3 times, winning 2 of those.
Yeah, one of the things I like to look at when a horse is coming off the bench, how did it do in its debut? Yeah, it didn't do so well in its debut. Okay, so that's one first start. Then I start to look at the other first starts that the horse has had. Came back to run on July 29th at Ellis Park and missed by a nose. Came back after a break again to September 21st and September 4th in 2021, and it won. Okay, so 2 out of the 3 first starts, the horse has done pretty well. And then once I get a sense of how the horse has done, I want to see how many workouts the horse has had in about the last month. So this horse has run 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 furlongs of workouts since January the 9th. That tells me that Thierry Duval has this horse fit and ready to go. I would not be at all surprised to see Michi run a very strong race today. Whether it wins or not, it's another story, but it'll be close to the pace, which can be a little bit nerve-wracking if you're on this horse in where closers do benefit. Number 9 is I Hear You. It's making its third start off a layoff. Terry, is I Hear You one that you're going to play or pass?
Well, it's my 4th pick, actually, and I think you might hear from her. She won her last race at Fairgrounds and received the highest last race speed rating. She won that on a sloppy track. And then she's actually finished in the money 4 out of 12 times on the turf, and likes the distance. Okay.
Well, the story for this one's the same as it is for so many other in this race, Terry. It's going to be at the back, most likely. And then, unless all of the jockeys are looking at the same thing I'm looking at and saying, I'm going to be a little bit more forwardly placed, but I think this one's going to be towards the back, needs to close. And It's going to have a lot of traffic to wiggle its way through. The good news for Tyler Gaffalione is it's on the outside, so it gets to see where everything is in front of him and then properly position himself. The horse has run on the turf 12 times with 2 wins in 2 seconds, otherwise runs off the board. Kind of struggled a little bit at the distance, 6 times with a win and a second, and only has a second at Fairgrounds. I think this is a 3rd or 4th player right about where you have it, Terry.
Yep.
Number 10 is Drapes, the final horse in the field. It's making a 3rd start off a layoff. Last time out, saw a little bit of mid-race improvement and then some late race regression. I don't know if that evens out or it's actually a net negative. I think it's probably a net negative, Terry, because closers matter here. Yeah. And if you're regressing late, it probably means you're going to regress late in this race too. Any chance for Drapes?
Well, she did have a little bit of an excuse last race, so she was bumped at the start of the race, and it probably affected her race. And the trainer wins 50% of the time when he brings a horse back for the second time with a turn. The horse is eligible to improve off of the 3rd race since the layoff, and she has a sharp workout on February 15th.
One thing to note, though, is those American Pharoah horses do tend to run a little bit better on turf than they do on dirt, which is weird, right? If you think about American Pharoah, I think they would be killers on the dirt, but they're not. Yeah. All right, Terry, how are you putting it together for us here on this race?
Well, I like number 6, Adeline Miss is my first choice, and then I like number 1, Pass the Plate is my second choice. Number 8, Amici is my third choice, and as I said, I like I Hear You as my 4th choice.
And that's number
8, or I mean number 9.
Number 9. All right. So 6, 1, 8, 9 for Terry. We have the same 3 horses, just a little bit different order up top, Terry. I don't know what's going on today. I noticed my computer's acting funny. I wonder if someone's hacked it. I have the one horse Pass the Plate as my top choice. I like the fact that it had won its last race, nice workout since, so that tells me the horse should remain sharp. I also like the 6 horse Adeline Miss, number 8, Amici, and then Dawn's Dancer is my 4th. I think this horse will be as good, if not better, than it was in its last start and its 3rd start off the bench. Race number 10, right? Man, there's a lot of races today, Terry.
Yeah, there are.
This one is the Mineshaft Stakes.
Yep.
It is a 1.1 miles. We move off the turf to the dirt, and 1.1 miles on the dirt, Terry. There have been 40 races. The bias swings from closers to speed horses. That's 27 horses that were at the lead at the quarter-mile marker. When we're not at the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd at the quarter-mile marker, went on to win. 9 of them took the field from wire to wire. And there is a small inside 3 bias. Any scratches here, Terry?
Yes, there are. There's 3. There's number 3, Title Ready, scratched. Number 6, Fort Peck is scratched. And number 11, Big Dreaming is scratched.
Number 11, Big Dreaming. So 3, 6, and 11 are scratched. I'll keep that in mind. Let's take a look at how this race might break out of the gates. So I got the wrong one here. It's the Mineshaft Stakes, right, Terry? There you go. Yeah. Mineshaft Stakes. Looks like Sprawl will be the fastest one out, followed by Olympiadad and then Silver Prospector. And then, so the 1, 4, the 2, and 11, they do have a pretty good, a little bit of an advantage over 6 and down. And then on the way back in, Terry, you have the top 2 horses. Miles D has a little bit of an advantage over Happy American. And those 2 should fare much stronger down the lane than Obesos and Olympiadad, followed by Midcourt and Silver Prospector. And then the ones from behind there will be really losing their legs late. And our horse racing stock chart looks like this. It looks to me like the inside 5 horses, Terry, are going to be the most competitive in here, if the stock chart means anything.
That's right.
All right. So race number 10, the Mineshaft Stakes. On the rail is Sprawl. It's not one of the scratched horses. What do you like about Sprawl?
Well, I really don't like a lot about Sprawl. Although the trainer does win 30% of the races when he brings a horse the second race off of a layoff. And this horse does have the highest speed figure at today's distance and a really good workout on February 13th. But if you look at the last 2 races, it's not really been very competitive at all.
Yeah, it's a second start off a layoff. Last time out, it did show some nice improvement. Second start off a layoff. So maybe you see the same here today. Did run in a grade 3, did fade a little bit at the end. I'm not happy about that. But the one thing that you have to look at that you can't overlook is the horse has run at the distance 6 times and won 4 of them. Run at another distance 12 times, Terry. And you know how many wins he has?
2 probably.
No, as many as you and I do.
None.
None. Zippo. So outside of the distance and Tyler Gaffleone, this one maybe is one that can surprise because it looks to me like it does like to run a mile and a 16th. Number 2 is Silver Prospector. This is a horse that's making its second start off a layoff. Previous 3 race cycles are kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, sometimes it's the same. So it looks like it's a flip of a coin. Horse has not really been in the best form the last 2 years, Terry, or at least 2021, and 2021.
Yeah, Silver Prospector tried the fairgrounds and didn't fare very well. But I think that the connections are thinking maybe if they change to a different jockey, it might help. And they going with Joel Rosario, who's doing pretty well, 25% winning clip at today's meet.
And that number 10, Mike, that's for the last race, right? Just want to make sure on that. I apologize because I have 9,000 things going on in the background, so it's hard for me to keep up with the comments. And unfortunately, the way the system's set up, Terry can't open them up, so I have to do everything. Just terrible. I wish he could.
Yeah.
But in any case, for me, Silver Prospector, second off a layoff. The horse has put in a nice workout since the last time it ran. I do see there was some nice early and mid-pace improvement from Silver Prospector compared to its last start. So I wouldn't be surprised if the horse does move forward a little bit in this spot, Terry. I just feel like it's going to be a little too far back where pace tends to favor the faster horses at this race. I just don't see him being a part of that early run. Number 3, Title Ready, is not run ready today. He's going to be on the bench. He's been scratched. Number 4, Olympidad. This is probably one of the more lightly raced horses in the field, only hitting the track 6 times before today, winning the last one in a blowout by 7 1/4 lengths as the 3-5 favorite. That was at optional claiming 62.5. Can he handle the step up to stakes graded company?
Well,
Not stakes company. This one's not graded. I apologize.
Yeah.
No, this one is graded, right? This is a grade 3, right?
I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
anyway, the Olympia is coming in from after winning its last race at Gulfstream Park and received the highest last race beating there. As you said, won easily, has 3 bullet workouts in a row, and Junior Alvarado, who rode him at Gulfstream Park, comes in to ride him here.
That's always a good sign but on these big days, though, jockeys travel no matter what, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's for sure. So this horse last ran on January the 15th, put in a bullet workout since the fastest of 15th. It does meet the track profile of a horse that needs to have giddy up and go out of the gate. Looking at the last race, Terry, to kind of get a sense of where the horse might go, there was a little bit of early and, well, I want to say a little bit, a lot of early race regression last time out. So maybe Belmont had a little bit of change of tactics with the jockey Junior Alvarado because the horse's late pace numbers jumped off the board. So although this horse tends to be forwardly placed, I think it's likely to break 3rd or 4th today, kind of sit off the pace and then try to use that newfound late running style to go ahead and carry the Junior Alvarado all the way into the winner's circle for a photo session. Number 5 is Miles D. This one is not scratched. Jose Ortiz, a friend of the show, actually going to be a guest next week on Horse Center with Sean and I. So you're going to make sure you want to tune that in. That's every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central. Got some great guests lined up, and I'm looking forward to it. Horse is making its first start since a little bit after Thanksgiving. Terry, I know you're not a big fan of after Thanksgiving to the middle of February breaks. But will that change here for Miles D?
Yeah, I think so. I think Miles D is a really good horse. Hasn't competed in 2 months, but had 2 wins in a row. And the last race was at Aqueduct, where he won, conventionally by a half a length closing. And then Jose Ortiz, as you said, is riding. So I think this horse is going to do well. Has a sharp workout on February 12th. He was the second best out of 41 at 4 furlongs.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, when horses are making their first start off a layoff, I like to look back and see how they did. Well, in its debut at Belmont, Jose is actually on the horse, finished 4th, Was second in the lane, kind of gave it up a little bit, but did close ground, just got past, finished fourth by 1 3/4 lengths. So an okay run, not the great run. Came back in after a break in June of the following year, won. Took a break again, came back and finished second by 1 3/4 lengths. Took a break again after 2 races. So this one's having a hard time staying on the track. Came back in October and won by a head. So in this horse's 6 races so far, 4 of them have been first starts off the bench, Terry.
Yeah.
And he's done fairly well in them. Has a race at the distance that he won. And again, when horses are taking a break and coming back, I like to look at those workouts and see how many they've done and what kind of time frame. Well, since January the 15th, this horse has put in 13, 17, 21 furlongs workouts, and most of them have been sparkling.
Yes.
So I expect Jose is going to have plenty of horse underneath him today as they come home down the stretch for the Mineshaft. Number 6, Terry, you mentioned, is Scratch. So we'll skip over Fort Peck and go right over to Midcourt. I remember this horse, Terry, a few years ago. Looked like one of the better horses. Well, at least like one that you could always make money on betting, counting on him showing up. Yeah. That last race, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I know. Poor thing. It walked off in the last race at Santa Anita, finishing 62 lengths behind the winner. And
is that like the whole track?
It sounds like it. Like
stayed in the starting gate.
Yeah. Anyway, I need to see a race before I would ever play this horse again. He does switch to a high percentage winning jockey, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters.
Yeah, I can't say that I am a big fan of horses that lost their last race by 62 lengths there. Although when they walk off, it's not as bad as if they just run poorly, because that tells me that something probably went wrong, right?
Yep.
So if something goes wrong, then the horse heads to the sidelines like it did, and it gets healthy and then puts together some workouts. So if it runs back to its back class, yeah, this horse has a chance, Terry. I just don't know what was wrong with the horse. And then again, when you look at the horse's history coming off the bench, it's a pretty good one.
It is.
It's a really good one. I'm just a little bit worried that those workouts getting ready aren't as sharp as I'd like for them to be. Mm-hmm. So like you, if Midcourt beats me, God bless him. I'm happy to see him back, but I'm going to want to see one before I jump on there. Number 8, Bezos. Should be, instead of the O, it should be a $sign, no?
Yeah. I agree with that.
Because there's one thing, there are zeros in Bezos' bank account. There's just a lot of them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He won his last race at the fairgrounds. And the jockey in the last 7 days has had 4 wins out of 13 starts and been in the money 7 times. So this horse is a horse that you want to watch out for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the horse does have a tendency to close, Terry. I do like that. Has run at fairgrounds 5 times, 3 wins and a third. So definitely a horse for the course. It's run the distance twice. It's got a win and a second. So clearly not at all concerned about the distance here at all. I'm just a little bit worried about maybe the first time off the start, the debut race, the horse kind of didn't run well at all. But last time the horse did come back and run at an optional claiming 40,000 and won by a nose.
Yep.
If it had faced tougher company, it probably wouldn't have won that race.
Yeah, you're right.
So a step up in company here is a little bit of a concern for me, Terry. But I do think the horse's ability at the distance and the track speaks well for Brian Hernandez and has a chance to show up in the top 3. Happy American is also running, Terry. It's another one that hasn't run since about Christmas. The workouts have been okay getting prepared. Kind of on the slow side. Any chance a Happy American will make its backers happy when the race is over?
Well, you never know. Just missed winning its last race at the fairgrounds, losing only by a nose. And it won the 2 races prior to that. So this horse could surprise. Has a high percentage winning trainer. So.
Yeah, Happy American. It's tough. At fairgrounds 5 times, has a second and 2/3 at the distance. So it's a Bob Dylan horse. Knocking on the winner's door, but just not quite getting there, Terry.
Yep.
I would like to have seen the workouts be a little bit stronger here. They're not as strong as I'd like to see them be. Although the horse has run okay off the break and not so okay off the break. I expect we're going to get a not so okay effort here because of the fact that the workouts are just bad.
Yeah.
Number 10 is running, right? Yes, it
Yes.
is. That is Untreated, $300,000 horse, making its 6th lifetime start. This is what I call an all or nothing horse. The horse has run 5 times. It's either one, so it's collected all of the money, or it's run off the board and it's collected none of the money.
That's
Which
true.
horse will it be today?
Well, yeah, as you said, this horse is, either won or it didn't do anything. It's won 3 out of 5. As a matter of fact, it's won its last 2 races in a row. But it tried a grade 2, the Bluegrass, and did poorly. Lost by 33 lengths. But it is very consistent as far as winning when it's won. And it likes to close from close to the pace. I think this horse has a chance.
Yeah, I think it can do all right too, Terry. The Aqueduct, though, is not. If it was coming from Saratoga or Belmont, I would say, yeah, pretty good shot. The one time it ran what I would call the tier 1 track in a tier 1 race, being the Bluegrass Stakes, it just didn't fire at all. But it, faced off against the highly touted Essential Quality.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody else in that race was only okay. Although Rumbar, who finished 3rd, did come back to win the Preakness, but not much afterwards. So that was a pretty weak field. So it's tough to see what happens with Untreated. You will, what he says, we all will be smiling happy after that race. Well, the one person that will probably be smiling the most is Mattress Mac, right? Are you familiar with him, Terry?
I am. He makes all these big bets.
Dude has put like millions on Smile Happy so far in the futures pool. But if you're interested in that race, the Risen Star, if you head on over to horseracingtoday.net, our Chris Pomerleau, and I hope I got that right, Chris. If not, you could be mad at me. But he's put together a hell of a detailed look at this race at horseracingtoday.net. You have what they look like out of the gate with the querying points. He runs through every horse. He's got track notes from all the trip notes from all the races that he watched, some videos there. So make sure you head on over to Horse Racing Today and check that story out before the Risen Star Stakes to give yourself a better understanding of how the race might break out, maybe a second opinion or a confirming opinion, or maybe even a contrarian opinion, depending upon where you stand on that race, right?
Yep, that's right.
Whew. All right, Terry. Halfway through.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me
race
tell
number
you,
11. Are there any scratches?
Let me tell you who I like.
Oh, yeah, God,
first.
I missed that one. Go ahead.
It's all right. I like the number 5, Miles D, to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like number 4, Olympiad, to run 2nd. I like number 10, Untreated, to run 3rd. And I like Obesos, number 8, to run 4th.
Okay, I'm going to go with Miles D on top. I think the horse has been working out pretty well for this spot. Bezos, as we mentioned, is a horse for the course. I know some folks don't like him, but take him away from fairgrounds, he doesn't win. So it's all or nothing for him. Olympiad is my 3rd choice, number 4. And then I'm going to bring it home with number 9, Terry, the Happy American. Because we're going to be happy when this race is over.
Yep.
Much like we are with Smile Happy. So now I got a little bit ahead of myself. Rewind.
Okay.
Here we are. Race number 11, Terry, is the Fairground Stakes. This one, again, is one of those about a mile and a 16th, about a mile and an eighth on the turf. Forgive me. They've only run 2 races so far at this distance, Terry. One was a speed horse. One was a closer. 2 races is not enough to put any emphasis on it. None of them went wire to wire, but we do see is all of the 2 winners, both of them. One winner from the rail, and I think the other winner came from the 2 post. But so you saw a little bit of inside bias there. If we take a look at how the race might break down out of the gates, Terry, I think it's this one. No, I backed them up. Fairground Stakes. There we go. Coming out of the gate, Cavalry Charge is the fastest. And then on the way home, at 40 under, it should be right behind. And then I got to make sure I got this right. Then on the way home, 2 Emmys, Terry. It should be the fastest horse on the way home, and it has a pretty good jump on Santin and Hello Again. Well, Santin, Hello Again, and Captivating Moon, those 3, Terry, all of them are kind of bunched up, so you really don't know which way they're going to come in. And our stock chart says this race is going to look like a very competitive race, Terry. This might be the most competitive race on the card today. At least the ones we're covering anyhow.
Yeah, I agree with that. So,
all right.
well,
So tell me, who are the scratches here?
So far, no scratches. So.
All right. So no scratches in race number 11. A lot of horses to get through. So let's get started with the Cavalry Charge.
All right. Cavalry Charge finished 9th at the fairgrounds after being off for 3 months. I need to see another race, although he does have a good trainer jockey combo in the last 14 days, who has won 2 out of 2 starts and a sharp workout on February 13th.
Yeah, I agree with you, Terry. This is a horse that's probably over his skis, as ex-President Barack Obama used to say. It is making its second start off of a layoff. The last couple times the horse has been in a 2-race cycle, the second race looked almost exactly like the first race. No way on the planet Cavalry Charge can run that same race and have a shot to win. Maybe there's some hope that the horse does improve, because since he ran last on January the 22nd, has 2 workouts, one of which on February the 6th was of the maintenance variety, it looks like to me, but then tried to put a little bit more oomph in his workout last time with the 7th fastest out of 93 at 4 furlongs. The second horse is 40 under, making its 4 start off a layoff, making a huge jump in class here. Terry, can it overcome the competition gap?
Going to be pretty tough, although it did win its last race at fairgrounds at 1 mile and 16th, and now stretches out to 1 mile and 1/8. That could help. It's earned the highest last speed rating, actually tied with another horse. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, this horse is going to be making its 4th start off the bench for the first time in a long time. Well, in its career, it looks like maybe. The horse last time out did put up a little bit better speed number. In fact, it's the 3rd consecutive speed figure increase in a row. But if you dig a little bit deeper and you look at the internals, there was a little bit of 2 furlong and 4 furlong deterioration, but it did pick it up at the back half of the race, Terry. You know, the horse needs to be on the lead. I'm sure there'll be plenty of other pace with this horse, Terry. And if it doesn't get the lead at times, it can get discouraged. I think that could be the case today for 40 under, but we shall see how that works. Number 3 is Santin. This horse is making its 4th start off a break, 4th start career-wise, first race since November 27th. It's a neck away from being undefeated.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like you said, it's a perfect career, except for that one race where it got beat by a neck. And this horse has a really good workout on February 11th, 57.2, best out of 22. This horse has tried 3 different tracks. This is the 4th one. The last race was a grade 1 at Del Mar, and really did a good job. Was a pretty long shot and ran 2nd by a neck.
Yeah, I think what I expect from Santin is this horse to be probably mid-pack out of the jump, and then try to work its way forward from there based upon its pace figures. And if it's 3rd or 4th coming out of the turn, Terry, coming home, it does have a lot of late punch. And I think it could surprise. Maybe it's a long shot that you might want to circle here and put in the back of your tickets for superfectas and trifectas. And I also like the fact that it has a bullet workout in its last workout before coming to the track. I call that a bullet and go. So since January 15th, the horse has got 4, 8, 13, 17, 22 furlongs of workouts. So I do think that Brendan Walsh will have Santin fit in its 4th race and try to make it 3 wins in 4 races, just missing by a neck. Major Fed. The Fed, Terry. Well, they've stoked up some inflation.
Yes, they have.
Can Major Fed here stoke up a win?
Well, I don't know. Trying the turf for the first time, but the breeding suggests he will like the grass, and the dam has produced 5 turf winners. He's switching to a high percentage jockey, which is Florent Gros. And, the trainer is a fairly decent trainer, Gregory Foley.
I think he's won like 3 out of 35 the first time he's brought a horse to the turf from dirt this year. So I think maybe that's a little bit of a stretch for this horse. I would probably like to see one on grass. Looking at the off track, which can be an indicator of how a horse might run on the turf, Terry. On the off track, the horse has run 3 times with a 2nd and a 3rd. Closed pretty nicely, but another time on a sloppy track, he finished 7th by 17th. I would like to see one on turf before I play the 4-horse Terry. So I'm going to pass, although I do think maybe can be part of the back half of the card. Number 5, Monarchs Glen. This is going to be one, Terry, that's way, way, way back. I do suspect that a closer is going to win this race. I just think if you're that far back that you're going to run into traffic on the way in. And if the jockey, Junior Alvarado, doesn't have this horse perfectly placed, then I think traffic problems could really be an issue.
Yeah, well, out of the 35 race career, it's ran on the turf 33 times and finished 57% of the time in the money. And of those times, it's won 24% of the races. So this horse may surprise all of us.
It could surprise all of us. It is making its 4 start off a layoff. One thing that I don't like, and it would be a surprise to me, Terry, because looking at the in-race numbers, there was definite deterioration in the early, mid, and late pace numbers. So the horse deteriorated across the board last time out. Sometimes that's a sign of declining form. And if that form decline continues, I mean, you might think about putting that one closer to the back of the pack than the front. Ad Hamo is coming over from France, Terry. This is a horse that's making its first U.S. start for trainer Chad Brown, who wins at 20%, so a little bit better than Todd Pletcher when he's bringing horses over from international sites. Again, I like to look at horses that are coming over from international sites that have a chance to run on a good track. This horse has only faced a soft track 9 out of its last 10 races. The one time, Terry, it did not face a soft track was in France, way back here at Chantilly. I'm sure I got that wrong, Tom. But when it did run on that all-weather track, which can be an indicator for the turf courses, it did win. So I would not be surprised to see this Chad Brown shipper do all right.
Yeah, maybe. Although, as you say, it's coming in from France, and its recent form has been pretty questionable. Did really well in 2020, but not so well in 2021. May improve with Lasix being added.
Yeah, that to me, that all-weather track run is a hint. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see this horse run better. Well, I mean, it's 9-2, so obviously the odds maker doesn't really expect him to run a bad race. Number 7 is Hello again, and hearing that in a way brings some memories back to me, Terry. My grandmother, God rest her soul, coming from Germany, had a pretty heavy accent, but the way she would say hello was hello. So when I see hello again, I can't help but think of my grandmother. So whether or not this horse wins or not, Terry, I hope that it does well out of respects to my grandmother. What do you say?
Yeah, well, this horse just missed winning his last race by head against some of these horses that are in today. So has a really good chance, has the highest last speed rating. It's actually tied with the horse I discussed before. So.
Well, you have Steve Asmussen, as we mentioned, is the number 1 winningest trainer in the world. Or, yeah, I think, or at least in North America. Yes, North America. Forgive me. And then Joel Rosario. I think Joel just won an award too, right?
Yeah.
He was the Eclipse Best Jockey of 2021, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And when the two get together, they win at about 30%. And surprisingly, and it's not a winning combination in terms of ROI, but it only loses 18 cents. I've seen a lot worse than that between top trainer and top jockey, because usually those sort of connections do well. I expect this horse is going to run a pretty good race, Terry. It's making its 5th start off a layoff. But you look at the last 3 races, the horse has increased its speed number 3 races in a row. As you mentioned, missed by a head last time out. And despite getting a little bit softer surface last time out, you saw the horse run almost exactly the same fraction. So you get a softer surface, but run the same fractions on what's a slower course. That's actually an improvement in my book. So go, Grandma, go. Number 8 is Captivating Moon. It's making its first start since way back in July when it ran at what used to be Arlington Track, maybe soon the new home of the Chicago Bears. Can this Chicago invader do well in New Orleans?
Well, its form when it stopped running last summer was pretty suspect. It wasn't very good. And I don't think that the workouts show that it's much improved, although they're not bad, but they're not really blazing either. So I would be a pass for me on this horse.
looks like a consistent runner to me, and it's speed figure numbers. So you're probably going to get a low 90s speed number effort out of this horse, which might be enough to show up in the money. When I look back at its most recent first starts off a layoff, they were okay. So this is a horse, Captivating Moon, that you might want to put if it runs a good effort. Just kind of watch it and see if it runs a good effort. Maybe doesn't win, maybe finishes 5th, 6th, or something like that. Makes a nice mid move or a nice late move to get somewhat into contention late. Put it in your horses to watch next time out. It might go off at decent odds and still and have a good chance to win. Point Me By is number 9. It's also making its first start since a little bit after Christmas. Maybe another one that's Barack Obama over its skis.
Well, it did finish second in its last race at Fairgrounds, and the trainer does win 21% of the time when he uses blinkers for the first time, which he's going to do with this horse. And he does have a pretty good jockey in the irons. So,
yes, indeed. Adam Bishiza, not too bad at all. Number 10 is Largent. Disappointed last time out as the 3-5 favorite in the Tropical Turf Stakes, a grade 3 at Gulfstream Park. It's going to be making its second start off a layoff, and history says that he's more likely than not to be as good, maybe better. But I'm looking at that bullet workout on February the 12th between races here. That leads me to believe it's going to be in the better camp. Do you or do you not agree? Terry, you.
I do agree. He's won 6 out of 11 career starts, and he's trying Fairgrounds for the first time. And that trainer wins 27% of the time when bringing a beaten favorite back to the race. And as you said, that's a really good, sharp bullet workout.
Yeah, and how do you argue with on the turf 11 times, 6 wins in 4 seconds? Right? I mean, that's a hard number to pass, right?
It is, yeah.
Number 11 is 2 Emmys. Not too long ago, I remember watching him at Arlington, upsetting the horse Domestic Spending, whom many believed was the best turf American horse. Last time out, he was the favorite here at Fairgrounds at a $100,000 non-graded stakes race. Finished 3rd, giving up the lead in the lane. Do you think he can reverse his fortunes and go from a beaten favorite to a winning favorite?
I absolutely do. He's in top form, finishing in the money in his last 6 races, and the trainer wins 57% of the time when his race when he has an entry in a graded stakes. And the best turf speed is the fastest among today's starters.
I think he's got a shot too, Terry. He's second off a layoff. Usually the resume says it's better than the first one. So I expect some improvement off the last race. The only thing I don't like is when you look at the turf record, Terry, he's run there 14 times. He's finished in the money 11 out of 14 times. But horses are herd animals, as we've heard many jockeys tell us, many trainers tell us. And it looks to me like this one doesn't like to lead the herd. It looks to me like this one likes to follow the leader. He wants to be more of a co-pilot than a pilot. So the little bit ability to hang, and you see it in his last 4 races, actually. Last race, he was first in the stretch by 2, finished 3rd by a half. The race before that in the stretch, he was first by a length and a half, finished 2nd by a neck. Even the race he won at Arlington, he was 3.5 lengths lead in the stretch and only managed to eke it out by a neck. And then the race before that at Arlington, in the Arlington Grade 3, he was 2nd by a head in the stretch and finished 2nd by a head by a neck. So I think this horse likes to hang. So I would not be surprised to see him fight for the lead, but at the wire, just kind of back up a little bit because that's not where he thinks he belongs. So how are you going to rank them, Terry? I'm not going to miss it this time.
I like number 11, 2 Emmys is my first choice. And then I like number 10, Largent as my second choice. Number 3, Satin is my third choice. And Halo again, or Hello. How did you say it? Hello again is my fourth choice.
It makes me smile, Terry. So I'm going to go. I'm going to start mine with Hello again. A little bit of a sentimental choice, maybe for me. And then certainly I do look forward to the time my grandmother does say hello again, God willing.
Yeah.
Number 11, 2 Emmys. Number 10, Largent. And number 6, the French Invader, Adhamo, or whatever that horse's name is. All right, 2 races to go, Terry. This is moving along as probably about as fast as I could hope it can go along. Race number 12 is the Grade 2, $300,000 Rachel and Alexandra Stakes. It's a mile and a 16th on the main track. And as we mentioned, at 1.16 miles before, Terry, there have been 40 races, 27 of them won by horses that had speed. 9 went wire to wire. There is a slight inside 3 bias. Are there any scratches?
No scratches at this time.
All right, no scratches at this time. So let's take a look at the Rachel Alexandra stakes and how they might come out of the gate. Ooh, I got that right. Number 7, Turn Her Loose. A little bit of a throwback to Loverboy. Turn Me Loose. Remember that song, Terry?
I do, yeah.
Does have a good early leg advantage over Miss Maddie B, who is a little bit faster than the next trio of Awake at Midnight, Le Crate and Dreamlith. When they turn around and come back home, those top 4 horses, Divine Huntress, Awake at Midnight, Candy Raid, and Hidden Connection, all have very similar late pace numbers. They'll be slugging it out to see which one can run by most of the early speed horses late. And this is what that stock chart looks like, Terry. Again, it looks to me like a very competitive race, again, with the exception of the 3-horse and the 6-horse. Any other one of these looks like it can get the job done.
Yes, it is very competitive. So anyway.
La Crate is the 1-horse making its 3rd start, Terry. What do you think its chances are?
Well, undefeated in 2 career starts. It's won its last race at Fairgrounds. Early speed running style will help the chances, and it has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer.
Yes, I just mentioned that Joel Rosario won the Eclipse Award. Steve Asmussen, the number 1 winningest trainer in North America. Forgive me for getting that wrong the last time. I've given him too much credit in the whole world. The horse should, it's tough to say what it's going to do in its second start off a layoff, Terry. Did run on January the 22nd, as you mentioned. But since then, it's had 2 workouts, one of which on February the 6th was really strong. And the one afterwards, Terry, was, I think, more of a maintenance workout. Mm-hmm. Horse has been the betting favorite each and every time. I don't think it's going to be the betting favorite here. And as such, I think you could get some value for a horse that's likely to run better than 8-1. Number 2 is North County. It's another one that the morning line favorite, the morning line odds say it's another 8-1 horse. This one is also undefeated in 3, Terry. Can it stay undefeated and keep that clean record in race number 4?
Well, like you said, it's another horse that's undefeated. And it won its last race at the Fairgrounds, so we know it can run there. It has a really good workout on February 12th. It was 48.4 breezing at 4 furlongs. It was the 13th best out of 102. So, yeah, and of course it has that good jockey on it again.
Yes, indeed. Adam Bashiza, like pizza.
Right?
Yeah,
like
indeed.
pizza.
I like pizza for sure. So then looking at looking at that race, Terry, the horse is coming off a layoff. As you mentioned, last time out, it did have some regression in that race. So hopefully the horse can improve on those numbers. One time across the Fairgrounds track, once at the distance, managed to get the W. That was it was 1.70 miles, so a little bit shorter. It's stretching out this time. It did kind of give it did only win by a neck, but I think more distance would actually work to this horse's favor, Terry. And the workouts have been pretty solid coming into this race. Number 3, Miss Maddie B. What do you see with Miss Maddie B, Terry?
Well, she's coming in, let's see here. I lost my place for a minute.
Miss Maddie B, the 3-horse in the Rachel.
Yeah, she's coming in from Southern California, and Mike Smith comes with her. She finished 3rd in the last race. It was a grade 2 affair.
Yes, Miss Maddie B bringing Mike Smith all the way across the country. I hope for Mike it's worth the trip. I do think that this horse did show some nice early pace and mid-pace appreciation last time out, but then it regressed badly in the back half of the race. Maybe they're going to try to push this horse out a little bit again. I think they'll probably rewind back to the maiden win on the turf and try to come from off the pace. I just think that it's probably got a little bit too much to overcome in this spot. Dreamlift is the 4-horse making its 5th start, Terry. Last time out, won a grade 2 at Churchill Downs, took some time off, hasn't run since about Thanksgiving. A long break, Terry. Can it overcome the long break?
Yeah, that won the Golden Rod, and, it has a chance, although it's not one of the horses that I chose, but like you said, it's doing all right. It's done all right in the past. Its best dirt speed is close to the average winning speed, and this horse has mediocre workouts, really.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about the long layoff, though I do like the fact that it has a grade 2 win under the belt. It's an all or nothing horse, Terry. It won 2, and then it was fifth by 5, fifth both other times out there, and really tailed off badly at the end. So I think everything about this race for Dream Lift is going to be about the pace, Terry. And if it can get I think it's probably going to need a pace that's a little bit faster than it might get. So I'm not sure if Dreamlift is going to be a part of it at the end. Number 5 is Divine Huntress, Jose Ortiz, again, a guest next week. Boy, that last race at Parks was a smoker, 1 by 12 as they 3-5 favorite. Terry, you know I am an enormous fan of track upgrades, going from Parks to Fairgrounds and moving way up in class. Do you think he has a chance?
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's closed to win the last race. I'm sorry, at Parks. Won 2 races in a row and tries the Fairgrounds for the first time. I think this horse could be, even though it's coming from Parks to the Fairgrounds, I think this horse could surprise everyone.
I'd be surprised if it surprised Terry. I've seen way too many horses come from Parks that showed a lot of early pace at Parks. And we've had a couple of jockeys on this week that run at Parks, and they mentioned that at Parks, you have to get to the front, just the way the track runs. So, yeah, I think this horse is probably going to be a part of the early picture, Terry. I just don't know that it's going to have the stamina against some higher quality horses to get home. Number 6 is Candy Reed. I don't know what this horse can do, if anything, to get home, Terry. It's run 8 times, 2 wins, so it's going to have to run back to that allowance $36,000 race. I just don't see it. No. This is a what are we calling them? I forget. Anyway, go ahead. It's a pass for me.
Yeah, me too. It's pretty tough for him to do well here, but he does. The only plus he has really that I see is he's got a pretty sharp workout on February 12th. So
Turner Loose. Boy, that last race at Del Mar was not so good. Blew a tire this time. So that was on November 5th. So he's really been in the barn for a long time.
Yeah.
And that was in the Breeders' Cup, Juvenile, Fillies, and Turf. So that was a pretty good race. So losing there is not that big of a deal. Before that, it won a grade 2 at Keeneland. So it does like the Midwest. Maybe it performs well. Can this one show up in the top 3?
Well, I think it's going to be pretty tough, although has a little excuse in that race was bumped at upper stretch and finished poorly. It does have she does have a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And the trainer in the last 14 days has won 4 out of 9 races, been in the money 8 times out of 9. So,
all right, Terry, Goddess of Fire. If you don't win this race, you better look out because that's a pretty scary name. What do you think about the Goddess of Fire?
Well, she's trying Fairgrounds for the first time after finishing second in her last race at Tampa Bay. And she has a good workout on February 12th.
Do you know who the Greek Goddess of Fire was?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I just Googled it. That's the, my daughter would know. If I pulled my daughter down here and asked her who's the Greek Goddess of Fire, she would be like, but it's Hatia. And she would tell me all about why it's the Goddess of Fire. That girl knows everything. Anyway, the horse coming in from Tampa Bay, it's a track upgrade again. I think it's about a similar track, Fairgrounds in Tampa Bay, so I don't really see much of a track upgrade there. I do like the fact that you have to have a lot of endurance at Tampa Bay. We've heard that from many jockeys that have run there. So I expect this horse to improve in the second start off a layoff. Since that January 15th workout, run has had 3 workouts. Totaling looks to me like 13 furlongs, and a couple of them, most of them have been really good. So I'm not going to be surprised to see Goddess of Fire put in a really good effort. Awake at Midnight, something Terry never is.
That's true.
The horse is only 3/4 of a length and a nose away from being undefeated. And even so, running second last time with the highest last race speed figure at Santa Anita. I don't know, Terry. I think this one has a really good chance.
Yeah, could be. She did come in from Santa Anita, as you said, and ran second in her last race. And she's very competitive in all her races. She has the highest last speed rating. Her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And she has a good workout on February 13th.
And Jared, who is usually pretty good on these things, says you can bet on Awake at Midnight. It is his pick. Bet on it. Trust me. And the last time he gave us a trust me was a 30-1 shot, I think. Well, the next day he came back. I think the horse didn't win. The next horse he gave us, but all right. But I could be wrong because my brain is not able, right?
That's
so Starling
right.
says, "Are you sure?" Oh, there's a little bit of questioning going on there. All right, Awake at Midnight for me. I'm not sure if it's going to win, but I do think it's going to be a part of the picture at the end, Terry. I think that the extra distance for this horse is probably going to be to its benefit. And those workouts since last running on January the 8th, they've been pretty solid. So horse is coming across the country for Doug O'Neill, $300,000 to $20,000 horse. It's here to win, and I think it will compete for that win. Number 10, California Angel. Didn't run like a California Angel in its last race, December 26th, but has a nice bullet and go getting ready for this race. Ran on the turf 3 times, Terry, with 2 wins. So at 30-1, and Deshaun Parker, an aggressive jockey. What do you say?
Well, the recent form hasn't been very good, but they're going to put blinkers on today, hoping that helps, and has a really sharp workout on February 11th. So we'll see.
And again, I do like Deshaun Parker as a jockey. I think he's very aggressive, and I expect that he'll get his most out of that horse that you're going to get. Number 11 wraps up this field with Reylu Gutierrez, Hidden Connection. Reylu is really good on horses that come from off the pace. He seems to have great timing. Last time out, finished behind Echo Zulu. Not really that bad of a thing, but he did finish 4th by 13th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, or she did, excuse me. So I don't know. Do you feel like this field is tougher or not as tough?
No, I don't think it's as tough. I think it was a lot tougher in the Breeders' Cup race. Mm-hmm. This horse bobbled at the start in that race, and of course ran 4th by 13. But prior to that, it won 2 races in a row and won them decisively. So I think it's going to do really well today. It has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey, and I really like that 5 furlong workout, best of 28 on February 12th.
I think the program we're doing, if that's the question I understand, we're doing fairgrounds today, all their big stakes races. All right, so Terry, Hidden Connection wraps up the race number 12, the Rachel Alexander. How are you going to order them up?
Well, I like number 11, Hidden Connection, as my first pick, and then I like number 1, Lacrete, as my second pick. I like number 9, Awake at Midnight, as my third pick, and number 2, North County, as my fourth pick.
When all these horses, how do we end up on the same 4 but in a different order, Terry? I'm telling you, my computer's acting funny. Terry he's got a mole in there.
Hey, you could be taking in my computer, so let's look here. So
you're the other way around. All right, I'm going to go with the 2 undefeated horses on the inside. I like until the horse loses, it doesn't know how to lose, right?
Yep.
So, and then I'm going to put the number 9 in there, Awake at Midnight, and then I'm going to bring it home with Hidden Connection. That outside post and speed might not work to its favor. It could be a little bit of a difficulty, I think, for Hidden Connection. That brings us to the last race of the day, Terry. But before we get to the Risen Star Stakes on Thursday night, if you're going to be doing any kind of action outside of fairgrounds, you might want to take a listen to the Players Edge podcast with our special guest, Anthony Farrier. He's got a couple of horses running today at Laurel Park in races number 4 and number 7. And the insight that he gave us to the horse that he's got running in race number 7, provided it didn't scratch, because he said there was a possibility it could scratch. And then if it scratches, that tomorrow is probably almost a lock to win, but there's no such thing in horse racing. You might want to pay attention to that, because that program also ended up in the winner's circle, quite literally, at Charlestown. All right, Terry, you ready to wrap this up after 1 hour and 14 minutes?
I am. Are you?
Yeah, I was ready to wrap it up like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So the 13th race is the Risen Star. It is the first 50-point race for the Kentucky Derby, Terry. The winner, as you mentioned, is almost, notwithstanding injury or anything like that. 50 points has been more than enough most years, probably all of them since they've gone to the point system, to earn a spot, to make reservations for the Run for the Roses in the first Saturday of May, Terry. This one is a 1 mile and an 1/8. They haven't run a whole lot of races at the 1 mile and the 1/8, Terry, at the fairgrounds. Let's take a look at how they might come out of the gates in a race that should be a lot of fun. Epicenter is going to be challenged a little bit by Slow Down Andy out of the gates. Right behind them, you will have Papa Cap and Pioneer of Medina. On the way home, I got to tell you, Terry, this Zandon has a nice late pace advantage over the rest of the field. And then Smile Happy will be chasing pretty hard behind. The two of them have a lot more late legs than Trafalgar or 20 Port. And our stock chart says this race is all over the place.
Yeah.
Looks to me like the 2-horse does not have a chance. Any scratches here, Terry?
No scratches so far.
I appreciate that. I'm glad to hear that. I appreciate that. And if you can tell New England Fan Man X, if you could tell your friends about us, it would be fantastic. Slow Down is a top pick, Jared says. All right, Terry, let's run through this field, make our picks, and see who we think is going to run in the 2022 Kentucky Derby. Number 1, Papa Cap.
That's right.
What do you think about Papa Cap? Tyler Gaffleone.
Yeah, only finished out of the money once in his career. Finished third in his last race. The trainer wins 24% of the time when bringing a beaten favorite back. And this horse has a sharp workout on February 12th.
I do have to say I'm a little concerned that it didn't win in the comp, right? A grade 3, right? Because when it ran against Corniche in the Breeders' Cup, I mean, Mike Smith did jump off the Papa Cap to ride Corniche. I can't blame him for that. It's funny when we had Mike Smith on the show that he mentioned that Corniche is still at the farm. He's not even working out. It's getting fat. But I do expect this horse to improve. That first run over Fairgrounds, I think, will be helpful. Since that run on January the 22nd, the horse has had 2 workouts, and, man, they've been quick. So I think you're going to see some improvement in round 2 off the bench for Papa Cap, especially in race number 2 across the track. Now, Mark Cass definitely making sure that horse is ready. Are there any scratches here, Terry, or no?
No scratches that I'm aware of.
All right. So number 2 is Russian Tank. I'm surprised there's many of them left. Aren't they all at the Ukrainian border?
I think so. And
but it's 50-1, Terry.
Yeah, my only comment is, why is he entered in here?
Well, why? Yeah, someone wants to be there for the party, Terry. I mean, an excuse to go to New Orleans, right? Although the horse is based in New Orleans. Trafalgar, Terry, this is a horse that probably will make its presence felt at the end of the race, making its second start off of the bench. It also ran in the Lecomte last time, finishing 4th. Can it improve on that?
Yeah, like you said, it finished 4th in that grade 3 at the Fairgrounds. Has a high percentage winning trainer, and they're going to put blinkers on today, hoping that helps. Has a sharp workout February 13th.
I think this is going to be a fun race, Terry, to be honest with you, because I think the top 5 horses can come in any order, maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
20 Port, number 4, Florent Guru, coming in from Turfway Park, where it's run on the all-weather track twice, winning, improving nicely from race 1 to race number 2. For me, I do like the fact that the horse improved from race 1 to race 2, Terry. I do like the fact that it's got okay workouts at Fairgrounds, but middle of the road. I would like it if it weren't running against such quality company here, because I just don't know how this horse is going to fare the first time on real dirt.
Yeah, as you said, it's going to be tough for this horse. It is undefeated in 2 career starts, won its last race at Turfway Park. But, it doesn't know how to lose yet, but I think it's going to be disappointed here.
It's going to find out today, Terry says.
That's right, yeah. Does have a high percentage trainer and a switches to a high percentage jockey. And the trainer in the last 14 days has really been on fire. 8 out of 9 in the money and won 4 of those.
All right, so let's see. Number 5, Epicenter, the jockey of the year, trainer with the most wins. Last time out, finished second by a head in the Lecomte at the Fairgrounds. Terry did beat Papa Cap, did beat a couple of the other horses in here. Can it continue to beat those horses?
Yeah, it may. It's not done too bad. It's got, of course, you said, the good jockey, and it ran second its last race, only beaten ahead. Prior to that, won 2 races in a row, and the one at Fairgrounds was won very convincingly.
Well, the 2 races were almost exactly the same, except the quarter-mile fractions were a little bit faster in the Lecomte than it was in the Gun Runner Stakes, the race before that.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that the horse did improve its speed number a little bit, but what really stands out to me is if you look at the 2 furlong and 4 furlong pace numbers, they increased a lot. And maybe on the back end of that was why the late pace figures dropped, but they only dropped by a little bit, Terry. So if Epicenter can get off to a good start And I say if he runs 47 and if he runs like 47, 47 and a half in the opening half, they're not going to catch him.
Yeah, could be.
Number 6, so keep an eye on those fractions. That's going to be the key for that horse. Number 6, Pioneer of Medina, won 2 in a row at Fairgrounds the last time out by 1.25. Before that at Tampa Bay Downs. Since that last race, Terry has a couple of workouts, one Bullet and Go, only the fastest of 5. I don't know if this horse is, well, it's got a lot of ground to make up, I think, if it's going to beat some of the top horses in this field.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It has won 2 in a row, so it's going for a hat trick. The last race at the fairgrounds, and was not pushed too hard, but I think it's going to find a lot of more speed in this race. So the workout was good on February 12th.
Yeah, to me, this horse needs to be to the front. It's the only way it's won. I don't think this horse is going to be on the lead. I think if he tries to get to the lead, all he's going to do is fade late. Zandon, as I mentioned, this horse, Terry, those late pace numbers, that last one is way, way off the chart. This is one to me that I'm really, really, really worried about.
I'm very worried about this one. I like this horse a lot. And, it ran second last time out, beating the nose, but it had a really good excuse. It was bumped late. So, and it improved between its first career race and the second. And that was a grade 2 race it ran in last time. And that workout on February 12th, 48.2 for 4 furlongs breezing is really good.
Everybody's favorite is Smile Happy. Corey Lanieri, been hot. 2 races in a row. Hasn't been close. Mattress Mac unloading millions based upon a Super Bowl bet. I would probably fade him. What about you?
Yeah, this horse looks great. It's 2 wins in a row. Won them both easily. One at Keeneland, one at Churchill Downs. So those are good tracks. And it's got, fairly decent workouts. So, yeah, this is one to be concerned about.
Yeah, coming off the layoff, long layoff. But I do like the fact that the horse did show some really nice late run. I think the distance is no problem at all. I think we'll be a part of it at the end. Bodak, number 9, Marcelo Pedroza. Big step up in class. Terry, did you write why is he running here?
I know I didn't do that, but this horse is undefeated in 2 races, and it did win its last race at Fairgrounds on a sloppy track. But I think it's going to have a hard time winning this race or even getting close to the money.
Mario Gutierrez lines up in the last horse. The purple number 10, Slow Down Andy. They probably aren't going to wear purple today. Right? These big races, they all wear the same ones like a European race. I don't like it because then I can't really follow the horse I want. Last time out, did hit triple digits on the Brisnet Speed Gun, 101. 3rd consecutive speed figure increase in a row. That was at Los Alamitos, Terry.
Yes,
can he take his talents east to Fairgrounds and run a similar race?
Yeah, this is another one coming from the California. And as you see, it ran 5.5 furlongs, then 7, then mile and 16th. And it did very well at all 3 of those distances. That last race was the grade 2 at Los Alamitos. And it's got a fairly decent workout on February 13th.
All right. The last race of the day, Terry. Who is getting your 50 points?
I love number 7, Zandon.
Loves him.
That's right. I think this horse is going to win. I think it's going to do exactly the way you showed on the chart there, where it breaks in about 4th or 5th place, and then it closes to win at the end. Then I like number 8, Smile Happy, the Mattress Max favorite horse there, and my second choice. And then number 10, Slow Down Andy is my third choice, and number 1, Papa Cap as my 4th choice.
Papa Cap. Well, I'm going to go with Epicenter as my top pick. Number 5. I think that early race improvement last time out is an indication of a really good race coming right here. I like Papa Cap too. I think that the horse was, the favorite in the last race. It's a good, solid horse. Mike Smith said he did like Corniche a lot, but if he had gotten to ride on Papa Cap instead of Corniche, he would have not been that upset about it. So he does obviously feel one is better than the other, but not by a whole lot. I got Pioneer of Medina. This is a horse that I expect will be near. In fact, I'm pretty confident will be at peak form in its 3rd start off a layoff, considering that Bullet workout between races. And then Smile Happy is the fourth choice tough call, to be honest with you, between the 10 and the 7. Those are my next horses. And I think you could put your name in a hat with these 6 horses and pull them out, and they can run in any different order depending upon the day. It's going to really come down to trip and pace, Terry.
Yeah, I think so. It's a very open race, competitive. It's good. I won't be surprised if the 6 horses out of the 10, any of those 6 win.
I would not be surprised at all if any of them got the 50 points. All right, Terry, 1.5 hours in. I ain't got a whole lot else to say. My voice is getting sore. Any final thoughts before we get up and out of here today?
Yeah, the only thing that I have to say is if you really liked what you saw today, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at Horse Racing, the number 2 day. And then like us on Facebook at Horse Racing, the number 2 day. And I guess we're on Instagram too. Instagram now. I guess it's the same handle.
Same handle, indeed. Yep. Horse Race today on Instagram. And of course, if you're here on YouTube, I haven't had a chance to check it. Last time I looked, we were about 20 folks away from getting to the magical 1,000. So if you haven't done it already, please like us please subscribe on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up, both on YouTube and a like on Facebook. The more of them we get, the higher we go up their algorithms, the more people will find us, and we certainly appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. We appreciate that, Jerry.
We do.
We have a great day. We love you as well. We love it when you give us 30 to 1s even more.
Yeah, I hope everybody does well at Fairgrounds today.
Laurel, everywhere.
Anywhere you're betting, but I'm imagining most people are going to be betting Fairgrounds or at least watching it. So I hope you do really well. Hope you have a great week and a great weekend. Stay safe and well.
And no matter where you're betting today, we hope, like our show on Thursday, that your day and your picks end up in, Terry,
the winner's circle.
Absolutely. Everybody have a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic Saturday. Terry and I will be back on Monday doing our normal show at 12 o'clock. We'll see you then.